we often hear people talk about hadith, sometimes quite recklessly and carelessly, saying, "Oh, you know, this hadith is weak. No, 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 no. Don't give me this hadith." What do you mean? So we need to know that sometime a weak hadith can be used, and so therefore this is a subject that scholars have long written about intensively. But briefly speaking, can weak hadith be used? What is their legal value? Can they be used to derive or establish legal rulings? Can they be acted upon? Is it permissible to narrate them? So these are, of course, very strong, sort of and significant questions to be answered. So the scholars of hadith, usul, and jurists, the fuqaha, the usuliyun, jurisprudence, they maintain that it is permissible to narrate weak hadith with two conditions. Okay, so not every weak hadith is just shunned and the door is slammed, closed, and all that. No. So long as these two conditions are fulfilled, then we can narrate a weak hadith. Number one, that the hadith should not be related to the field of belief or creed. Yeah? So if the hadith is related to aqidah, creed or belief, then we cannot narrate that, because we cannot act upon that, because aqidah is a very strong issue. We need to have sahih hadith and not da'if. Number two, the hadith should not be associated with legal rulings. So long as we do not prove halal and haram from this hadith, then it's fine to narrate them. So based on these above two conditions, the majority of scholars, remember, the majority of the scholars are of the opinion that it is permissible to narrate weak hadith that are related to virtuous deeds, fada'il a'mal, yeah? Encouraging good, discouraging evil, character and stories, akhlaq, qisas, yeah? So they're not always a no-no, a red sort of zone area. No. You can narrate them, you can deal with them, so long as they are not associated to the legal rulings and belief in aqidah. So the scholars use language in the passive voice normally, qila and so on and so forth. So that's the indication when they use. Now, there's unanimous agreement that basically it is not permissible to use weak hadith for issues related to belief or creed. Aqidah is aqidah, like I said. It is not permissible to use weak hadith to establish legal rulings. Although you can use weak hadith to strengthen other ahadith, or if it is strengthened by other hadith, then of course you're not heavily rely or solely and completely rely on this weak hadith, but you're relying on the outcome of all the ahadith that you're using. And there is a disagreement amongst the scholars regarding the usage of weak hadith related to the virtues or rewards of deeds, fadail al-a'mal. There are three major opinions we have to look at very quickly when it comes to using weak hadith for fadail al-a'mal. Okay, so number one, weak hadith can be, basically should not be acted upon without exception, regardless of whether they are in beliefs, legal rulings, encouraging and warning of righteous deeds, at-targhib wa tarhib, whatnot. That's just categorically not allowed, they say, to use this hadith. Okay, that's one opinion. Who has that opinion? Great hadith scholars such as Yahya ibn Ma'in, al-Bukhari, Muslim, Ibn Arabi, al-Maliki, Abu Shama al-Maqdisi, al-Shafi'i, and Ibn Hazm, rahimahumullah. All these great scholars have this opinion that regardless of anything, we must not be using weak hadith, da'if hadith. The second opinion is that it is permissible to act upon weak hadith without exception if there is nothing else related in that area of discussion. So Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmed Hanbal, all the four schools of thought would say, look, it is permissible, if there's nothing else related in the area of discussion. So you still have a source where you can rely upon. And the third is that it is permissible to act upon weak hadith that are related to fadail al-a'mal, al-targhib wa-tarhib, and not those related to beliefs and legal rulings. This is the third opinion as we looked at. So it is important, therefore, to note that the scholars who permitted the use of weak narrations for virtues, even, they promote good and warn against evil. Even these people, they place three conditions that regulate the use of weak hadith. Imam Nawawi, rahimahullah, Imam Suyuti, rahimahullah, great scholars, they are of the opinion that they must, fulfill these conditions. Number one, the hadith should not be very weak, extremely weak. It should not be a fabricated hadith, of course. Number two, that the hadith should be within the scope of an authentic legal principle that is applied and accepted in either the Quran or Sunnah. You see? And within the scope, it shouldn't be against Quran or other established Sunnah. And number three is that its weakness is not authenticity be realized when applying it. Okay? So we have to always keep in mind that it is weak. And this means that when acting upon this hadith, a person should not believe with full certainty that the Prophet ﷺ himself actually said or did this. Rather, there is a possibility he did so, and it is being acted upon in hope of receiving reward. So that's, in a nutshell, the detail of the weak hadith and acting upon it. Then finally, the further reading for this regard should be noted that in Arabic we have Taysir al-Mustalah Hadith Mahmud Taha. We study that in level 2, 3 or 4, one of the levels. Kamali Muhammad Hashim, a textbook of hadith studies, recommended to everyone. We must have a copy of this. Those who can who are English readers. A'zami, Muhammad Mustafa Al-A'zami, Studies in Hadith, Methodology and Literature, very great book. Then we have Jonathan A. Brown, Muhammad's Legacy in the Medieval and Modern World, and Zubairi, Forhan Zubairi, Introduction to Hadith Studies, also very great reads. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina